And we welcome you. Thank you for the good shout out and the throw over from the Morning Wave and our friends, Debbie, Morgan, and Amanda. And thank you, Ediconius, for getting all this going. We are matching these levels out. Sorry, things are coming in a little hot, so I'm going to back us off to where we can.
So this west wind has got a stranglehold on my allergies. Good grief. So
that's what it is, huh?
Little storm came through yesterday while we were in Houston, and we woke up to a west wind that comes off the Wild Horse Desert. It brings a bunch of dust and other things in that we're not used to breathing. So.
But it's not as humid this morning.
No, that's the great thing. So
yeah, it's not that bad. So thank you all for tuning in too. Just in case the FCC is listening, I keep wanting to say FAA because the drone stuff. Yeah, the FCC is listening. This is
just say the feds.
The feds, exactly.
The feds
KUKA, yeah. Driscoll, Texas, 105.9, 103.3, and estamos on Retro Tejano 104.1. So, gracias to all our friends for listening out there. My name is Jacob Oggs. This is Island Moon Thursdays on Larry Elizondo's Power Hour. We got Jay Gardner, Tyler Thorson, Lily Walker, and Dr. Brian Gully joining us. Lots of stuff to get to, but we're also on YouTube Live. So you can just go to YouTube and look for Island Moon Live and say, hey, if you have a question for us, feel free to just reach out in the chat, and we'll be able to see that. But realize that everybody else can see it too. So, yeah. So if you're mean, we will know.
That's right, exactly.
And Lily will find you.
I absolutely will.
So speaking of finding things, Lily, we're gonna fire this up with something from Jay's article I thought was pretty crazy.
Oh, yeah.
So what's the story on this famous mask?
So before I moved to Texas, I got dive certified in South Dakota.
Where?
Well, Black Hills.
Cornfield?
Yeah. No, the Black Hills, where there's tons of ocean and water.
Yes.
Yes,
Pools.
of course.
And lakes.
Naturally, I wanted to be a marine biologist. No, so I got certified in the Black Hills. My first dive mask I've ever had, and I was so excited about it. I love that thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, it traveled far and wide with me for a long time. And there was one fateful day in 2017 that I was down the beach, and I was snorkeling around. It was one of those really calm days, and long story short, it fell out of my truck somehow, and haven't seen it since. And I've been bullying everyone in my sphere, like, where is it? I know this thing exists.
Even your mom.
Yes,
even my mom. No, there's many times I've called them, like, Mom, I know I have dive gear at the house somewhere. She's still in South Dakota. And honestly, she was very sick of me being like, Mom,
Yeah.
you have to look harder.
Yeah. I know it somewhere.
When you get a mask that fits really good, though,
Yeah.
it's wonderful.
Mirrors,
Yeah.
And you spit in it, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I had that thing seasoned like down.
Yeah,
It's
it's like a cast iron.
It's like the cast iron skillet for divers. Yeah.
Exactly. So, man, many years go by, and I start working with Jay, who I had run into down that beach trip.
Oh, yeah.
And I go over to his Vortex kitchen.
Yes. Back to the Vortex kitchen.
Back to the Vortex kitchen. And in my periphery, since diving has been kind of on my mind, I noticed that there's a mask sitting on the table. And something in me just was like, I have to pick this thing up. Which I'm no stranger to masks, so I don't know why I did that. And I was like, oh my gosh. And Jay just kind of nonchalantly was like, oh yeah, that's my spare mask. And I
Found it down the beach some years ago.
Yeah.
And it says Black Hills, South Dakota on it. Yeah. So it wasn't like a random.
Two together.
Yeah.
So you poached it. Is that what you're saying?
It was on the beach. It was laying on the water line. I stopped.
Well,
because
normally
it was a
the-
mask.
Yeah.
It was right.
Normally you
beyond
find something like that. It's been roughed up too much to use, like sunglasses.
it was in great
Yeah.
shape. I was like,
It
this
still is.
awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
it still is. And so, I picked it up off the beach, rolled around in my truck for a little bit, but I put it because it's a nice Maris dive mask, the same one that I have, same model that I have.
With a fancy strap.
With a fancy strap.
Yeah.
And so it lived in the closet with the rest of my dive gear for 7 years. And we were going to Belize here in a few weeks, and so I was going through my dive gear, sorting things out, and I was going to a pool party with the kids from Houston. And so I got it out, threw it in the pool, let the kids play with it, brought it home and set it on my table where
Yeah. So
Lily found it.
Wow.
He's just explains that he found it, whatever, down the beach. And I was like, Jay, this is my mask. And he's like, okay.
Okay.
Like, okay, I have it. It's my
Well, I mean,
spare.
it does say South Dakota, and it says,
Well, I had-
in case you know,
yeah.
this is Lily Walker's mask.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's, I
write
think
your
it's
name
like-
on things.
Yeah, I think
that
it was
for-
with an etcher.
That's
you know?
the lesson for all of you out there.
Yeah, if
Write
you're
your
looking
name
for the moral of this story, steal masks and meet women.
Yeah, right.
No, I was like, no, Jay, really look. This is Black Hills, South Dakota, and this
Yeah.
I know is my mask.
So
and
that's
then,
where you
and then,
learn.
yeah,
Yeah.
I got goosebumps and frankly started crying.
Oh,
Well, good for you.
That's awesome.
So reunited. So
A gal in her
Reunited.
mask.
so right on. So
we've got a lot to get to, Jay. You were
Yes,
rattling some topics off earlier. Now a lot of this,
a lot to get to.
we don't have to go into too many details, and a lot of this is actually cleaning up other things from what people were asking questions about earlier. So.
Yes.
Yeah, so if you still have any questions or things, you can feel free to just go to YouTube Island Moon Live, and you can write your comment in the section right there, and we'll be able to see it and answer your questions.
Right. So I've got to get to a lot of things here. I'm going to run through these things at a 30,000 foot level. So
Yeah.
I'm not going to try to get too much into them. But basically, this is the update that I gave at the CCA meeting in Houston the other day on a lot of habitat projects that are going on. We're just going to run through them. We're partnering. You know, CCA wouldn't be in the position to do a lot of things that we do without partners like Texas Parks and Wildlife, Galveston Bay Foundation, Coastman Basin Estuaries Program, Matagorda Bay Foundation. We all get federal grants and private money, and that is the perfect match for everything. We're doing a bunch of marsh restoration in Galveston Bay. I know it's up the coast. Oyster Lake for Matagorda Bay, Karankawa Weave. Actually, and one of the things that we got from the Intergovernmental Affairs Committee was that they're actually doing conservation leases with the GLO on oysters.
So describe a conservation
So a
lease.
conservation lease is like a cordoned off section of the bay where you go build a reef and the oystermen aren't allowed to touch it. So
Yeah.
it's a conservation reef. Oh, right. So anyway, they're working on getting that done. Something we had talked to our friend Lance Robinson back in the day, Texas Parks and Wildlife. It just takes a long time for these things to actually get through the legislature, get approved, and
Well, it
and
all
all
moves at the
that.
speed of government, right?
Right, exactly. And so we met with Matagorda Bay on that. So Ayers Point, Coastman Basin Estuary is one of our great partners. Ayers Point is up in Ayers Bay, right?
Yes.
Mesquite, Carlos, all that. So remember, we shut down oystering. Flatsworthy was a part of that
Yep.
as well. We shut down oystering in that Tri-Bay complex right inside Cedar Bayou.
I
We
did
go back-
I did a lot of video production for that with
Right.
those guys, and it was a really fun project. Of course,
Yeah.
you know Chuck Nizer is the guy who's kind of spearheaded a lot of that stuff, and he's just the man's a legend. So it's a lot of fun being on a boat and running around with him and Billy and a bunch of the other
Right.
Flatsworthy guys. But
We-
there's 5 reefs that he refers to as baffle reefs.
Right, exactly. And so Ayers Point is right inside of that. So if you, maybe we'll share on YouTube later, but anyway, we'll
Yeah.
run you through this as we get more technologically advanced. So anyway, Ayers Point is moving forward. We're hoping to start construction in fall of next year. I know it's like, oh yeah, coming soon in 2019, but hopefully that gets going. Nueces Delta Marsh Restoration, a lot of you know that the Corps of Engineers put a bunch of material in front of the Delta face. It had been eroding up to 12 to 14 feet a year. It's kind of a gumbo mess,
That
but it's going
much?
to be reshaped, and hopefully that'll become more of a baffle reef as well.
Sorry, the all the noise in the background are the 3 boats with 300s or 450s, whatever
Right.
they are, on the back of them,
Taking
getting
off.
ready for the shotgun start for whatever tournament's going on this week.
Mosquito fleet.
They're-
Right,
yeah,
yeah.
they're pre-fishing.
So, and then we donated $625,000 to the Center for Sports Fish Science and Conservation Center through the Mark Ray CCA Texas Endowment Fund, right?
Nice.
So Matt Strike is the director of that. And, you know, HRI, they do a lot of great stuff for recreational fisheries. They do artificial reef research to figure out how we need to build these reefs, what's the best bang for the buck, inshore sports fish assessments, and tagging. And Lily, do you have anything to add on some of that you experienced while you were there? I mean, the great red snapper count was there.
The Great Red Snapper count. There's been a lot of doubt about snapper fisheries, and I think that those data that they collaboratively found with many institutions, and then also collaboration with NOAA, has greatly changed red snapper management here.
Well, there's more red snapper. They're not just hanging around the rigs and the reefs.
There's more red snapper than that, yes. So that's what they've found. Do you remember what the total count that they procured was for the
red
entirety
snapper?
of Gulf of Mexico?
Yeah, there were 2/3 more red snapper than National Marine Fisheries was given the recreational fishers credit
And
for. So
yeah. So that rubs recreational anglers the wrong way when they see these party boats
Right.
going and just
And so one of those other things was the Shimano.
yeah. So CCA has been huge, instrumental in facilitating, I guess, that science. So I was one of the first of two, the other was Dr. Kesley Banks, recipients of that scholarship.
Right.
And it definitely changed my life.
Yes.
So yeah, it's the Shimano and CCA Texas Partnership Science of Conservation Scholarship, which funded my research that I did right around here.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
No,
Yeah.
that's great. And speaking of right here, thanks, Lily. Is the we also donated $525,000 to Dr. Jenny Pollock, one of our great research friends there at HRI, to do restoration of serpulid reefs in Baffin Bay. So, do you want to tell everybody
Everybody
about
loves
serpulid
those
reefs?
serpulid, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
serpulids!
Exactly.
For anyone who doesn't
Are they-
know,
are-
It's not like a
Mollicutes?
regular pulid who got knighted. It's yeah.
it's
Serpulid.
serpulid.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So if anyone doesn't know what a serpulid reef is, it's basically a reef built out of these little worms that build these tube casings around them.
They're like feather duster
Yeah.
worms or something, and you can see them. They're still extant on the pilings, right?
yeah,
So look
so-
for the little round curly Q worm casings on your pilings.
So
Those are serpulids.
as you're going down the Intracoastal, all those islands, the spoil islands that are set up on the side, a lot of those are from the dredged up serpulid reef and all
Oh,
the other
yeah.
stuff. That's the material that's in the bottom of the ICW, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
shells and all kinds of fun stuff.
I think it's pretty cool to note that the Upper Laguna Madre and Baffin Bay system is the only place on the Gulf Coast that has serpulid reefs.
Really?
Yep.
Why is that? Is it like a oyster thing, like salinity?
Salinity for sure.
Okay.
Yes.
Hypersalinity.
Yeah.
Oh, look, I'm becoming a scientist
Yeah,
now.
oh,
Look at
yeah.
that, guys.
Hey, everybody's learning everything on the morning show,
Yes.
the islandmoon.com morning
Yeah.
show. So
what Jenny Pollock's group is doing in terms of restoration is trying to figure out what substrate is best to restore these reefs, since there's been, like you said, dredging of those serpulid reefs to turn them into spoil islands, etc. So,
right. So,
literally, what will they grow best on?
So Jenny's been doing some research down there, and she'd put some ceramic plates and other material out and figure out that serpulids, she was hanging them in baskets. The barnacles grow on top, but the serpulids grow on the bottom. And they really don't overlap, so that's kind of interesting. So she's going to put some new modules down that have these kind of 3D printed stuff that and check those out around Center Reef.
So
But,
what are those? What are they made out of? Is it ceramic on both sides?
So they're doing 3D printing with Portland cement. I haven't
Okay.
seen the process, but you can look that up. It sounds
It's-
pretty
They do
interesting,
houses
so-
like that too. Though.
They've got if you get a chance to actually get out and fish around Shamrock, they've got some that they set up there as
Right.
part of a little
And then
initial
and
thing.
then Alberto kind of knocked them around a little bit. But
Yeah, but
anyway,
they're interlocking, right? Is that part
No,
of the
these,
solution?
these are individual modules. Oh, they do have some that are interlocking.
Okay, so you can
like
kind
sheet pile.
of put like
yeah.
a wall or a breakwater
Right.
with them. That's
those,
cool.
Those are for the erosion more than anything else.
Yeah,
okay.
well, yeah, and they worked. So, anyway, one of the other things that we talked about is MU-775 is the Packery Channel Reef. Unfortunately, that permit expires December 31st of this year, so we may not be able to get material down.
So for people who are asking, I had someone reach out last week and say that they have a friend in industry that said all of the old Harbor Bridge is getting cut and taken over to a laydown yard and not getting pulled offshore. Now, from what I understand, and I reached out to John Blaha to get a little more info, which ended up going back to an email that you were involved in with Texas Parks and Wildlife.
I was in a meeting,
Right, so
right?
it all comes full circle.
So you're reading my words in an email that was sent. I'm like,
Yes.
that sounds really familiar,
Yeah.
Jacob. I was in that meeting. So anyway, I'm not going to list the contractor, but anyway, yes, the contractor is supposed to pull down all the bridge material for the old Harbor Bridge. Obviously, the steel they'll try to recycle, the concrete, they all it's all kind of spoken for. That's how the contractor makes kind of some of their money, is they recycle some of that concrete, which is absolutely fine. And TxDOT has a sustainability clause in their contract, so they have to recycle as much as they can. But I talked to our friend Lynn Allison at Flatiron, and she said, go talk to the contractor, because, artificial reefing could be considered recycling. It's kind of a gray area, right?
How is that a gray
It's
area?
repurposing.
Yeah, it's
repurposing the
repurposing.
material.
And one of the things that, I showed, and what really spawned that, is that there's these called Jersey barriers, the dividers in the freeway. The ones that go up the middle of the Old Harbor Bridge are the old Jersey style that can't be reused on another project, right? So, they've got the strap notches in the bottom of them. Yes, they have rebar in it, but it's encapsulated. So it makes it to where you could just pick those things up, put them on a truck, put them on a boat, take them off. So to recycle those things, you can't put them on a road. And to recycle those things, you have to crush them up, pull the rebar out. It's intensive. I'm not just talking about a couple of Jersey barriers. I'm talking about over 2 miles of Jersey barriers.
Yeah, which would make awesome reefs.
It would
Great
make
reef,
awesome reefs, and you have to put them down. I mean, just a monolith isn't going to work. You have to put them down and do some pickup sticks kind of
Right.
with them. So
Make a pile out of them so
make a
there's bases
pile
underneath.
or use them to bookend our other reefs that have smaller material. That way, a shrimper doesn't go through there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They hit a Jersey barrier, they're going to stop.
Yeah,
You know
yeah. I
what
don't care
mean?
how big the turtle doors are on your
Yeah,
net. It's, yeah,
right.
that
It's not
ain't
going
coming
through.
out.
Well, but you can stack them on a barge and carry a whole lot of them in an even.
Yeah, exactly.
Pattern,
So-
then haphazardly put them on the.
So anyway,
seaboard.
I don't think that people were actually thinking of the specific material, and maybe through us talking about it and us on the calls with Texas Parks and Wildlife and GLO, which I was on with last week, and everybody's working towards this. So it's really good to see some other partners come together on that. So, and then getting new permits, the really big deal with all of these projects is going through National Marine Fisheries Service, the consulting over giant manta ray. We're putting down Oyster Reef in Ayers Bay, and they want formal consultation that takes 18 to 24 months. Giant manta rays and nesting green sea turtles.
I see the nesting green sea turtles. I don't see the giant manta rays.
You're 30 miles from a pass.
Come
on.
Yeah.
It's
They'll
ridiculous.
never go there.
And
No.
the West Indian manatee.
So National Marine Fisheries is thumbing their nose at somebody. Maybe it's the states, the feds, and so anyway, our good and intergovernmental liaison Ryan Skabarsik is in D.C. this week, and hopefully that's one of the things that he's able to address up there. So good
so,
stuff.
Before we get too crazy on that, what about
That was it.
the span on the bridge that goes across the channel? I think someone was saying the sail fell through on that. So is that from the contractor? I'm guessing selling the
The span,
the I guess reclaimed whatever concrete, asphalt material, everything.
all those uprights.
That might
Yeah.
be, yeah.
So
Well, they're going to
getting-
take it down in one section. That section over the channel, the 500-foot section, whatever.
They just clear everybody on either way and
No,
just
they
get
just slow,
saws.
but you
and
can-
boom.
Yeah, but you can't lower it.
like a cartoon or something.
You can't lower it down on a big barge.
Yeah, in sections. Yeah, I thought that'd probably be how they would do it. Just set up cranes and
it's
swing it that way.
525 feet across there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bigger
They're-
things have been moved by barges. And,
But
and
they're
Yeah.
going to have to
cables,
get
so.
in there.
But the whole worry is the destination. I know I understand the contractor is under some obligation to get rid of it, obviously, and they need to sell it to recoup some of their cost. They can't, they're not just going to build igloos out of it.
I think the price of steel right now, recycling, is very low right now.
Yeah, and that Harbor Bridge has got so much paint on that steel.
Oh yeah.
Like 47 coats. So I don't know what they're going to do with that. But
China doesn't care about burning that off.
no, exactly. So one of the other things, speaking of oysters, this is really huge. Is that CCA gave the Texas Parks and Wildlife Foundation, not department, different group, $1 million for oyster buyback licenses. So there's like 534 active licenses in Texas, which is overcapitalized, and this $1 million through the foundation was matched, and they were able to buy back 112 licenses, and out of those, 42 were very active. So we're chipping away at an overcapitalized fishery that's frankly scraping everything to the ground.
Right.
So we get some of those licenses back, and it was the moratorium, no more licenses. So you've got to sell it or use it, right?
Yeah.
You don't use it, then it becomes eligible to not be renewed.
So let's kind of describe to all our listeners. God, I keep touching that.
That
Sorry,
thing's hot, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I accidentally bumped the bottom of the mic cable. I'm trying to grab the skirt on the outside so it doesn't. But whatever. I'm professional like that. Talk about the situation with oyster dredging and the damage that does to these reefs. And for example, kind of the baffle reef system between like
Absolutely.
San Antonio and Espiritu Santo Bay.
Right. No, that's absolutely right. You know, the baffle reefs is a really good point that the oysters aren't just there for us to be plucking. They're actually part of the ecosystem out there, and they have a large effect on our fisheries. That's the little places that the little fish can hide and grow up in relative safety. Plus, it also stops erosion on the shoreline, erosion of the marshes, erosion of seagrass. So the oyster reefs physically being there is a huge part of our ecosystem. But yes, so rebuilding those is very important, and you can rebuild them, but if they're taken down after they reach 3 inches, then you've wasted your time and wasted money. So we're shutting bays down, getting buyback, and also getting these private leases cranked up. So oysters are really important. We all love them. We're sitting here at Doc's Steaks and Seafood next to Snoopy's, and everybody sells oysters. And the pearl is right in between us. So everybody's lovely about oysters.
I think a really important component of what I guess oysters provide too is their services to water quality, which has a lot of implications.
I never thought of looking at an oyster and saying thank you for your service.
But we should be. No,
Yeah,
that's
exactly,
actually,
yeah.
They filter 50 gallons a day.
50
of
gallons, yeah.
Really?
Seawater.
Right.
Per oyster.
Per oyster.
Per oyster.
When I was in grad school, I did a study with NOAA, and I was looking at, I guess, the bioremediation potential, or how much
And carbon sequestration.
and carbon
They're
sequestration.
rebuilding reefs on this, yeah.
So I did some modeling studies on a mock reef.
What did it show?
Substantial reduction of nitrogen and
Really?
Yeah.
Substantial.
Substantial.
Right,
So yeah.
Exactly.
That
Nothing
was,
to mock.
Yeah.
and yeah. So if you think about all the pollutants we've got going in bays right now, like that is a very natural
Well,
way.
it feeds
to
the blooms. Nitrogen doesn't it feed the blooms and all those things that we
nitrogen
don't like?
feeds
Yeah.
the balloons for sure, and when that gets
Right.
out of whack, we get things like red tide,
Red
and
tide.
things
Yeah.
like that.
I like the
That's
yellow
bad.
one that glows when you kick your feet in the
That
water. That's kind of fun.
phosphorescence, yeah. No,
All
that's
right.
good. So
Trichodesmium.
What is it
Right.
is 0727 here on Island Moon Thursday on Larry Elizondo's Power Hour on KUKA, Driscoll, Texas 105.9 and 103.3. And good morning to all our friends on Retro Tejana 104.1 as well. And
Hello.
on
Yeah.
YouTube on Island Moon Live. We're going to run to a quick commercial break. And
one more thing.
Oh, do you want to hit one more thing?
Yes.
Okay, one more
Because
thing.
commercial break, the table scatters. Speaking of 501c3s and people trying to raise money, I caught something the other day on City Council. The OVG group, OPU 360 group that is managing the American Bank Center, soon to be the whatever center.
Hilliard?
Yeah, Hilliard Center. They actually mentioned that they're going to start a program for 501c3s like Fiesta de la Flor, SEA, CCA, and they're going to work with people like that on the price, whether it's grant program, additional services, things like that.
That's good news.
Finally.
That's
Finally.
good
great
news.
news.
So I'm not going to let them just say that in council and get away with it. We're going down there.
No, when the council sees how many people, and they know, I've seen Mark Scott there several times in meetings at CCA and stuff. They know how many people there, and they know those people are all voters, and they have
Yeah.
spouses that
Yeah.
vote.
Yeah.
And so if you got a couple thousand people there that are go-getters that they have another couple thousand spouses at home, that's a lot of votes.
Yeah.
And there's 2 of those organizations, and there's probably others that need help raising money for their work.
Right. Yeah.
And
they
one of
ran
those
you out.
We
yeah.
built this thing for us, for the citizens of Corpus Christi.
Right.
And to cut them out like they did, and tell them,
SCA's
okay,
already
yeah,
moved.
Yeah.
They had to move.
DU
Yeah.
They had
moved.
to
So
And
yeah, they listed up like 12 or 15 of those organizations.
yeah, and
But it all
so-
comes down to concessions.
Yeah.
If you don't get the concessions and the parking, then
Yeah,
you-
and the parking.
that's
Right.
free money.
Yeah, right.
Everybody's got to
Free-
park.
Yeah,
I
right.
want my hot dog in the park.
Yeah, right.
Well, that's very good development.
yeah.
Yes, that's
about
great
time.
news.
And so hopefully they follow through with that. So that was the one thing that I gleaned out of city council last week, but the rest of it'll just rot your brain. So I couldn't watch it.
Well, they
still.
were giving our friend Greg Smith plenty of dap down there this week.
Yeah.
They finally caught up with him.
He's been busy.
Yeah.
Good for
That's
him.
busy.
One thing about Greg is he's going to tell you what he thinks, and
Yeah.
and I almost always agree with him, but now every day I agree with him more and more.
Well, he's been
Right.
saying
Yeah.
on this show for 3 years to ramp up the Mary Roads pipeline, and the
Right.
message finally got home.
We are rolling. We are live back on YouTube. Took a quick commercial break there, and we are back. Thank you guys for tuning in to KUKA Driscoll, Texas, 105.9 and 103.3. My name is Jacob Boggs. We've got Dr. Brian Gully with us, Dale Rankin, editor-publisher of the Island Moon, Lily Walker, and Jay Gardner with LJA Engineering, and Tyler Thorson, the
Citizen extraordinaire.
Continental Man of Mystery. And you wanted to give a shout-out to some friends, right?
I like to say visionary, but
Visionary.
visionary. I would want to say hi to Jen and the folks at Vascare. They listened, but they listened earlier, and so now that we're an hour later, they're like, well, we can't catch it. So they now can catch it on YouTube, and I think we're going to put the QR code that you can just take your smartphone or your iPhone and get right to the link. So for those of you out there, thank you over there that listen at Vascare. Thank you, Dr. Lee and Marco, and we'll see you on the YouTubes.
Exactly. And we've got Island Moon Facebook. Go to the Island Moon newspaper and islandmoon.com with edition 1114. It's
Yeah.
actually coming out today, right, Dale?
Yeah. We're working on getting the archives uploaded. We got 20-some years of archives. I'm trying to figure out how to get them online so people can access them. It's a work in progress.
Yeah. Well, some fun and interesting stuff in the paper this week, and we'll get to some of that other stuff. But
besides Lily's mask, which was a good one.
yes, that's actually a really cool article. And it's how things sometimes just come back.
Reunited at last.
Yes.
I'm like, yeah.
So one of the things that you wrote about, Dale, was it's been 20 years since Katrina.
Yeah, it has been. That was my column this week. I got kind of carried away when I started telling the story.
Again,
Started
yeah.
digging through the pictures.
Speaking of
and-
archives, yeah, because
Yeah.
you were there. Yeah.
And I was sitting in what's now Brewster Street upstairs, looking out the window at the water and thinking, man, this is going to be a good summer. And then my phone rang, and it was somebody said the Japanese are trying to find you. And 24 hours later, I was in New Orleans.
Right.
They weren't. It wasn't like because you were like along from World War II. It was that they
that's-
wanted you for a
that
press.
was my first thought. I
Yeah.
paused and I can't think of any reason that I shouldn't let them find me. So
Right.
So I started looking for an RV, and the closest one was El Paso. So I called a friend of mine that worked up at Campers Corner in Rockport, and he had one. So I drove it from there overnight to Baton Rouge, and then by noon the next day, I was in the middle of New Orleans on I-10, looking at a lake that used to be a city.
Right.
That was an incredibly difficult time, and that was I remember the first memes I saw. One of the ones that came out, you remember Looter Dude, the guy wading across the water with the case of beer or whatever it was.
And
Yeah.
he was wearing a police uniform.
And then it changed. Different kind of beer.
I rode my bicycle into I made a bicycle out of parts I found. I rode into the Hotel Monteleone, and through the parking garage, it was all open. I rode into the lobby, and I'd stayed there before, and they had all this Louis XIV furniture. It was all gone.
Yeah.
So I go down to Johnny White's sports bar, and I said, what happened to all that furniture? They go, it's in the police station over there on Canal Street. Cops got it.
Well, that was the highest part of town, so that's the reason they built that old part
Yeah.
of town at the French Quarter.
Yeah.
So it was when you have the flood. That's going to be a bad
And they
place.
got they all went to seed, and when the wind stopped, they all came back out.
Well, one of the
it
funniest,
was high and dry.
One of the funniest photos that you have is it looks like a Foot Locker, some kind of shoe store, that was missing a bunch of the display shoes.
Yeah.
So it's like people are running around with one new right shoe.
They took the
just-
right shoe
yeah.
gang. Yeah, that's who, you can tell the looters because they're all wearing right shoes on both
Yeah,
feet.
carrying all their new televisions.
And and they looted the Walgreens right next door. The first thing they took was the drugs, of course. They got into
Oh,
the
yeah.
pharmacy.
Oh, yeah.
But then it was the cosmetics. They took the lipstick and the nail gloss and all the skincare products. I don't know why.
Stocking up for Mardi
But
Gras.
that's what they did. I guess so. And then,
course.
I was there for about 3 months. We lived in a RV on Canal Street. And that shoe store was the first time I felt air conditioned in 3 months because they turned the lights back on and the front door was broken out when they looted it.
Yeah.
So I just stood there taking in cold air. Next thing I know, here come the cops. Looters! And
Yeah.
they go, somebody called me in as a looter.
So I'm curious, how long from once Katrina formed to when it really hit? I know a lot of the devastation there was, by the levee breaking and the
Yeah.
kind of natural
Yeah.
bathymetry of that area.
It went in at Florida first, didn't it?
but-
I believe.
Went across,
Yeah.
and then it was headed straight for Corpus.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
at its peak, which
Yeah.
was like Category 5 for a short period of time, I
Yeah.
think, and then it lessened and turned north.
And it was the French Quarter only got about 100-mile-an-hour winds and no water.
Yeah, it hit as a Category
it.
2 or 3.
But that was
Yeah,
it.
too, yeah.
But then what happened is the levees, they built all of that. They rebuilt down there in the Ninth Ward in the lowlands where they shouldn't have built because they thought the levees were going to keep the water out. But what they didn't count on was the politicians in Louisiana took 30% of the budget to build the levees. The part you couldn't see, the underground part that
Yeah.
keeps it from falling over, and that never got built. So when the water pushed on it, here it came, migrated all the way out through Metairie and all over looking for a home, and found one in the Ninth Ward.
What happened to the mayor? Didn't he get eventually get arrested for something?
He got in trouble for contract rigging, bid rigging. Yeah.
This is going to be a chocolate city.
Well,
That's what he said.
I remember. So he kept coming down. He'd come down to Press Row and do interviews, and there was all these reports of looting coming in. So the sheriff of Jefferson Parish, the line runs right down the middle of the Mississippi River. The radio people in New Orleans, there was no signal, so they all went up to Baton Rouge, and they had one. That was the only way to get information was off this AM station. So the sheriff of Jefferson Parish gets on the radio, and he says, "I hereby deputize all citizens of Jefferson Parish to shoot looters on sight." And that was the end of the looting
That
in
was-
Jefferson
yeah.
Parish. Heard a little gunfire, and then everything got real quiet.
One of the crazy things that I heard, my buddy was in HFD, the Houston Fire Department, during all this, and they sent aid over, and a bunch of the guys went to go help.
Cajun
And,
Navy, everybody.
Yeah, exactly. And they
I
had
rode
him
with
because he was a medic and everything. They had him on a boat on just a little Zodiac, and they were going through rescuing, getting people from
Yeah.
houses, and some people were still like, I ain't leaving,
Yeah.
And they said people had been without power and stuck there so long, some people were going stir crazy. And when they put them on the Zodiac, they had, of course, all the medical bag and all this stuff. And two guys with M16s get on from the National Guard. And they were like, why would we need automatic weapons? And the guy
Yeah.
said, I'm hoping we don't.
Yeah.
And sure enough, a crazy dude with a deer rifle took a shot at him
Yeah.
from
Well,
down the
you-
street.
you-
You're trying to shoot him out of the Zodiac. Why? No one knew. No one knew.
Evidently drunk.
And there was
'Cause
no
he
telling.
missed.
Yeah, well, the guy was drinking the
gangs-
seawater.
The night
apparently.
of the storm, one of the gangs got into a National Guard armory and looted that out. So they had shoulder-fired rockets
Oh,
and
jeez.
LPG. they had weaponry, and they went down through.
play with some
they
fireworks
went down through the
tonight. Yeah.
neighborhoods before the water went out, shooting in the houses. There was a lot of stories made the rounds about all of that stuff.
Made the rounds.
Well, you could hear gunfire regularly at night. It wasn't uncommon,
Yeah.
but we got.
That sounds
we
like
went-
Flower Bluff.
We went over the Huey P. Long Bridge and got in onto the freeway right next to the dome, the Superdome, and the Japanese guy was. We had 8 crews there, and he said, "We're just going to stay here tonight." And there's probably 10,000 people living out there on the freeway because there's water.
Yeah.
Everything's flooded.
Yeah.
And we were behind talking about the National Guard. We were behind a truck full of guys with M16s. I go up to the driver of the truck. I said, "You guys staying here tonight?" He goes, "Are you nuts? We'll get down here before the sun goes down." So I told
Yeah.
the Japanese, "You can stay here if you want. I'm leaving with the National Guard."
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Following the guys with the guns.
I mean, it's a very eerie thing when you're up like that and you know there's a whole city out there and you can't see anything.
Yeah.
There's no power. It's flooded, and you know there's people moving around, but you can't see anything. It's
Yeah.
very strange. So the social order breaks down real fast.
And you don't
Real
want to be the
quick.
only one. You don't want to be the only ones that don't have guns.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, we needed water, so we're sitting up there on the freeway. We can see a distribution center across the way, so we went over there and liberated jugs of water.
Well, we're-
loaded them down in the truck.
And we're right in the middle of hurricane season. We're about to be looking on the barrel
Yeah.
of the most active time. I believe it's up through October. It starts kind of increasing.
We're getting
for
waves
us.
on the East Coast right now.
No,
Yeah.
yeah.
September.
Yeah.
September.
So if you don't have your
Yeah.
hurricane plan and everything already set, go ahead and get that ready. Just a word of warning, And the whole thing is, out here on the island, it's literally a barrier island.
Yeah.
And there's
Yeah.
a good chance it's a matter of when, not if.
What are we
Very
up?
good.
What are we up
So-
to on the alphabet now? I don't even know.
Hey,
B. I think we're
Yeah,
on.
we're
We're going
ready
to
to
B.
be,
I
yeah.
thought
That's
it
not
was
good
very-
for us. We usually get storms late in the season and early in the alphabet, right?
well, we're late, really. I mean, this is
Celia,
towards the end of
Carla,
August.
Beulah.
Yeah.
But we also had Harvey and Hannah.
Yeah.
So
Right, yeah. But
depends on the activity.
so yeah,
And we had Alberto last year, which we're going to get into here in a little bit, that took out some of our
Yeah,
bulkheads.
Hey,
a
that's
year
another
ago,
fun
June.
word.
But right, so hurricane season, be prepared, and also another reason to be prepared is next weekend is Labor Day weekend. So we will
Yes.
get one more final onslaught of everybody coming in town, and also next weekend is the end of the CCA Star Fishing Tournament.
Yes.
So get out there and catch those tagged redfish. Before we've only had 2 tagged red tagged redfish. With the boat.
Oh,
truck,
really? They're
trailer.
still out
There's
there?
only been 2, so there's a
Don't
bunch
they
of
drop
fish.
like 15 or 16?
65?
I was
They dropped
close.
65 fish.
And they have the
They haven't caught
Whataburger
the,
one too.
They haven't
Wow.
caught, yeah, the free
Whataburger
Whataburger
one.
for a year. They haven't caught the 2 here yet, or if they have, they haven't turned them in yet.
There's a
What are you
free
waiting
water.
on?
There's a free Waterburger for a year
year.
fish out there with someone's name on
There's
it.
2 in
We
this
need, we need to
area.
get our buddy Boudin to tie a Waterburger patterned fly. We can get out there and
How many
catch
Whataburgers could you eat in a year if they were
I know.
free?
I know.
Yeah.
I think there's a limit.
I don't think that's a good idea.
It's like the all
Yeah.
you can eat. You can
Yeah.
only stay there for an hour. Otherwise, some guys.
Yeah,
will
there's
sit there all
also
day.
They
probably
tell
a
you
free
that-
cardiologist visit fish out there as well to go right next to the.
And
Yeah.
they
Dr.
tell you that's
Silverman?
all you can eat. Get out of here.
Yeah, that's right. Jeez. So anyway, yeah, get your supplies, and I can't believe that next weekend is Labor Day weekend. Wow.
Well, and all the-
and then it'll be dove season and everything before you know it. So
Exactly, and all the kiddos are back in school.
cats and
and
jammers are back. Yeah.
You can tell when the kids are back in school on the island because the fleets of electric bikes with little kids on them running around on the streets go away.
just suddenly
Yeah.
They're all
stop,
parked
yeah.
over in front of the school.
Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
I'd like to mention someone. We lost a really, really great sportsman last week, and Jim Harmon lived on the island. Fished around Port Aransas for 50 years. He worked for me for a long time, ran boats for me. We chartered boats together. We fished with each other a long time. His son, Jimmy, runs the pilot boat over at Port Aransas.
Oh, yeah.
You've probably seen him around here a lot. The whole family's been here for forever. Big duck hunter, big bird hunter, deer hunter, but mainly a fisherman. And he was the guy. When you fish the deep sea roundup, it's a tournament where you have to know how to catch different kinds of fish, not just one kind of fish. And there'd be 700 or 800 people in the old days in those tournaments. And you look around the night before, and I always look at the really good fishermen. And I say, okay, I got to fish against this guy, this guy, this guy. These guys can beat me. And Jim was always top of that list. He was the guy that I knew could catch every kind of fish out there. Just a great guy. He had multiple myeloma. He was in Vietnam War, got wounded over there, and possibly the Agent Orange had something to do with it because he ended up with multiple types of cancer, and he was supposed to live about 3 years. He lived about 15.
Lived in Port A.
Flower Bluff.
Flower
Flower Bluff. Leah, his daughter Leah, you've seen her around, and just a great family, but a great person. We lost Sean Christopher a month ago from the Bluff also with Seascapes. Great family guy, just And these are old guys that we're going to miss.
Yeah.
We're running out of
Absolutely.
it,
Well, and the talking with my wife earlier, she mentioned I need to take Josie fishing. She was like, Josie's got her little fishing rod, and
Let's go.
she's already got a few perch under her belt from hanging out with the family and stuff. But it's great, passing that the sport fishing on to generations and getting everybody into it and stuff. I think that's awesome. We live in a great place where we can basically fish year round. Our hunting season is amazing. And have you seen anything on eBird about how the prediction is for dove season this year?
I think it was standard, right?
It's up, down from last year. At least the white wings are down a little bit, but the
Right.
last year was an all-time high. It's supposed to be good this year because I can't shoot.
But
Oh, yeah.
but, yeah.
Well, it's
Before, but
rained.
really
It's
can't.
He's
rained
got a
out
wounded
west.
shoulder.
some.
That's the,
Yeah.
I think they shortened our season a little bit though by a couple of days.
Yeah.
Right.
And it starts on a Sunday.
The special white wing, yeah.
Well, the white
no,
wing.
the
There's a
regular.
2 white wing seasons starting the 6th
Right.
around that weekend,
So
and then
that was the
yeah,
day
the-
and a half that they've shorted
13th,
us,
yeah.
on the front end and then the back end. Yeah.
Yeah. So pay attention. Get your hunting and fishing licenses. It's not
The
too
new
late.
ones just went on sale.
Yes.
You
and-
don't have to go to Academy and stand through the line. You can go get them online. That's
Yes.
Yes.
Well, and if you haven't downloaded the app, it is outstanding. I showed people on the end of the jetty a few years ago when it first started the program how to tag a redfish right there. You can tag your deer, you can tag your reds, you can show the game wardens your license and everything, or
They have-
multiple licenses for family members.
They have bag and size limits on that
It's-
app. They've got everything.
Yeah,
So, yeah. If you're
yeah.
curious about, hey, what
It's
is
a wealth
this?
of information. So when someone pulls up a sheep's head at the jetty that's 13 and a half inches long,
Right, yeah.
you can go through and tell them, hey, look, here are the regulations on what you're catching.
So, but yeah, gone are the days where we would go to Academy. We'd all go during lunch.
That was
we'd
fun.
all get a case of shells,
Right.
7.5s,
Yep.
and then go stand in line and then get our licenses. And they ask you when you renew your license, like, okay, how many duck and dove did you shoot last year? And so we'd always go together, and Willie would say, "Oh, I shot 42." And then Jacob would come behind him. I shot 43, just to mess with the people. So,
No, that was.
And then Jay shot 44.
But
yeah.
yeah, right.
They got one of us for. They call that the HIPAA thing. It's not the medical one, but it's the one where you answer those questions. And if you don't have that,
The
checked
hunter's
off-
education?
The hunter education,
Hunter
yeah.
education, the other one.
If you were born before 72, you opt out, right? Is it 72?
Yeah,
Something
and it
like
was
that.
just me. If you were born after January 1st in 72, and I was born a few months later, I managed to skirt by it for a few years. But
you can pay
eventually
$10
I
and,
got
and get a
online
pass for
and
one
did it.
season.
Yeah. Oh no, you just get online and do it. So it's
Mm-hmm.
pretty simple to go through.
I got all my children one at a time, bought them that lifetime hunting fishing
That
license.
was
Yeah.
the
That was-
smartest thing you could have done.
Back
it's
when
like,
it wasn't it that bad. Wasn't it?
yeah, oh, man.
Even myself, of course, I'm so old I don't have to pay for a license anymore. But
Right.
but I never have to worry about getting one because I can just pull it up online now and like I said, I've got a license.
Right, yeah. No, that's
Because
great.
you oftentimes you're out fishing the day after the 31st of August, or sometimes
Yeah.
you're overnight. You realize my license runs out
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Right,
And
yeah,
we wake up in the
exactly.
morning.
Yeah, you can do that. You can do that. You just have to have proof to show the game warden. I think I did that at Mansfield with my license electronically.
A couple of years ago, we were heading out it was the weekend after Memorial Day, and CCA Star had just started, and I thought I was signed up. Turns out I jump on that.
no.
I jump and I made sure and double checked, and I signed up right there on my phone and made sure I had everything set. Got the confirmation email, and I was like, okay, because I thought for sure if I think I'm signed up but I'm not, I will
Yeah.
catch a tagged
I
red.
tried that with a
Yeah.
police officer pulled me over for speeding the other day. It didn't work.
Yeah.
I said, look, it's right here on my phone. No, here's your ticket. Go away.
Here's your ticket, yeah.
Give me your press pass.
Yeah. So we have Rick McGinley coming on here in a little bit, the executive director of the Padre Island Property Owners Association. We're going to talk about water in the canals and other
Good.
island
And
subjects.
One last thing before we jump to our second commercial break is noticing the fact that it's 0 to 1 foot waves out there, and the water is gorgeous around the jetties.
Yeah.
Jace Tunnel wrote a really interesting article about
Yeah.
braid and fishing line and
Drowning
and
turtles.
cast nets and the problems with all that stuff down there. We need to go set up and do a beach cleanup. Try and find it at slack tide and go hook some. Yeah, not jetty. Yes, jetty cleanup, not beach cleanup, and hook some weights and stuff, and
They
and
gather
get all
on the
that
rocks.
cleared out.
I've had two. Speaking of that braid, I've had two blue herons and one pelican dead, tangled up with that braid line. Two of them are caught on my fence and one on the dock, because they'll get into it or get a fish that's hung on it, and they'll fly around till they hang up, and they're not breaking it off. Or it gets around them and cuts through their leg, and then they lose a
We
leg.
used to get pelicans hanging upside down on the power lines by the 361 bridge because of all the braid and fishing line that was hung up there.
Took 3 years to get those birds down, right?
Yeah.
They kept complaining about it at ISAC. Finally, somebody went out there with a long saw and cut them down.
It's just not a good look. Like,
Yeah.
hey, you know, go on the way out to Port A, and it's like, hey,
worse than a pair of tennis
see what we do
shoes.
to pelicans we don't like. Yeah.
There's a smaller one over there at Mud Bridge as well. A collection of.
Well, what they do in my house is they cast to the dock, and they're not very good at casting, so they hang all over my dock, and then they break off, and that's trailing in the current. Then we'll come up with a boat, you'll wrap it up on your prop, and you don't realize it. And after you wrap some of that on your prop and you run it for a while, it cuts into the seal, and you leak into your lower unit, and you wipe out, $3,000 or $4,000 lower unit.
Yeah.
And we've lost 2 lower units on new motors there just because it wraps up with that stuff. I'm saying, guys, if you're going to get in your kayaks and you're going to cast, you think you have to all fish on my dock, at least hit the water when you cast. I have 11 foot high on the deck on top that's hung up there. How do you miss the ocean by 13 feet?
Have you seen novice casters, especially like with a Zebco, they hit the button at the wrong time and it goes up high.
Straight in the air. Yeah.
Well,
we were doing a job with complete foundation repairs over in the bluff, and these kids were out there. They had spent the night. It was with their friends over at birthday party, and they were just swimming around there. So we go up there and check out all the decking, and they go, "Hey, let's go fishing. Let's go try fishing." So he goes like this. He goes right to the end of the down in the bulkhead. He casts and he catches the top of the roof on the house next door, and I'm like.
get a bigger weight.
It was a spinning rod, and he let go his finger the wrong time. So it can happen.
Just always remember, half the fishermen are below average.
I was fishing South Packery last week, and someone hooked a pelican. I was wearing this stupid dress when I was out there, but I think people need to understand how to actually manage them because
You
those
have to
are
be
feisty
careful.
buggers.
Oh, yeah, they'll hurt you.
Yeah.
I ripped my dress off, stuck it over its head, and it was a
we should get
successful release.
Tony
but-
Amos used to give a whole class on that.
Yeah,
You come up, grab them by the beak, and then get them by their wings, because if they smack you with their wings, they can hurt you.
And
And the feet, too. They got claws on those
they'll
feet.
clap those that
get you.
Their
big
bills
old
are
mouth, man.
scary,
It's,
yeah.
it's
Jacob's
wild.
done this for me. We've been down the beach, and I'll have a long rod out there, and I'm fishing for pompano or whatever, or slot reds, and a group of pelicans will fly by, and one of them like, ooh, you think you got a big bite on there, and then it's like, oh god, and he's wrapped up. So you go out there with a beach towel, and then what happens when I'll go out there, I'll say, hey, Oggs, you got better eyes than me. Can you do a uni-to-uni join when I cut this thing off there? Because it's the quickest way to get them off there is just cut the line and clip it, remove it, while you have them covered up on the head, because they will pop you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
anything
towel,
with
you need a towel.
your regular bird, you cover the cage and it goes to sleep, right? So it's the same kind of thing. Close the eyes. It's not going to go to sleep. I'll tell you that.
No, but it won't pop you in the face.
Yeah, exactly. Less likely to
Yeah,
get
so
popped in the
because
face.
it happens sometimes, but there's no excuse for that on your dock there. I mean, unless they were trying for
Well,
flounder.
but, I mean, it's trailing off there. It's just there's that dozens
Yeah, yeah,
right
I hear
now.
you.
Well,
And what I worry about is sometimes I'll have to go find something at the bottom or get something we dropped.
Well, they
And
know
I don't
they-
like to hold my breath, go down the bottom, and be working down there, and I come up and my wrist is tangled up on something that can cut my
Yeah.
damn wrist and
Right.
or drown me. It's,
Yeah, when
it's
I
dangerous.
found out about that, because it's like when you got a really bad hang up on something, you can't just wrap it around your fist. You got to
No.
wrap around your whole body and turn and then lean backwards
Well,
to get it to
you
pop
can
off.
wrap out and break that monofilament, but this stuff will cut
It's
you.
tough.
Love
Yeah.
it, right? Yeah, it's crazy. All right, well, we're going to listen to a couple commercials, a little promotional moment here, and we'll be right back with Rick McGinley. Thank you all for joining in on Island Moon Thursday. Rick McGinley joins us, Tyler Thorson, Dale Rankin, Dr. Brian Gully. My name is Jacob Oggs, and we've got a Ted Mandel sighting as well. There's a lot going on the island and a lot to get to. I know there's an article on the front page of Island Moon this week about canals and water flow, and let's just jump right into it. And the POA is on the forefront of organizing the opening of all the canals. A lot of people have been talking about, potentially July and then into August, and now that we're here, what do we know and what are we looking at?
Well, just to clarify a few things, we're really not the ones organizing the opening of the canals, right?
Okay.
So we're just on the receiving end of what happens as a result of doing that. So we are in the business of repairing bulkheads, which is a full-time job for us.
So what all do you? What's under the purview of the POA? The bulkheads and the base of the bathymetry, everything at the bottom, like in the canals.
Well, the bulkheads we own for sure. It's almost folklore as to how much beyond that.
Okay.
The canals and waterways. The canals belong to the POA, that's true.
Okay.
But, where they intersect with bridges and roadways and stuff like that, those are city tasks.
So we've had since October, I believe, of last year, we've had the canals blocked. We had Alberto come through
Yeah.
a year ago, June, knock down about 170 feet, something like that, of bulkheads,
That was visible, yes.
and that's all since been repaired, right?
Okay, well, here's the thing. We repaired that section, which was about 165 feet or so. And in the process of doing that, we had to look up and down the Cruiser Canal, and we discovered that we needed an additional 234 feet on the east wall. And then we've got 2 more corners to do. Well, actually, we're done with one of them, and we're going to go up and tackle the next corner closer to Whitecap.
So how far along is that work? All of that. When will all of that be done?
There is no all of that being done. It is a continuous process. So in the limit, we could have to go all the way up the Cruiser Canal to Whitecap.
So you have some agreements with the landowner on the Lake Padre side, or an agreement
Yeah.
about when that dam will be removed, contingent on what?
Repairing bulkheads, primarily. That's what we started with. And at the time, there was a fair amount of pressure on the landowner to take it down. Since then, we've managed to get enough attention at high enough levels at the Corps of Engineering and now GLO to where nobody's bugging the landowner to take that dam down. And we're not bugging them to take it down either until we've fixed the obvious problems with the bulkheads that used to be 6 to 8 feet below the mud line are now sitting on top of the mud line. So those are
So if the dam wasn't there, you'd have to stop working?
pretty much if the flow was too great, because the guys we hire to fix bulkheads can't work in a fast flowing water rate.
What's the limit that they have to go under? I mean, right now, you're looking at maybe 0.5 to 1 foot per second at the most, and it depends on the canal you're on, I guess, because most of it's wind driven and a little tidal driven.
Yeah.
But once both of those are open, you're looking at, and say Encantada, right, gets cleared out. Now you've got 3 points of movement, which I don't think would really drastically increase the movement of water unless it is like a storm situation, right?
Okay, well, we constantly default to the discussion about Alberto. That was 320 nautical miles away. It was a minor event to us, and yet it resulted in that much damage. So if you open that up and you get a flow rate that's, say, below the magic number of about 1.9 feet per second, that's nice on days like today. But we lost the natural berm that we had once the Don Pat Bridge went in. The only protection we have is to put a sea gate in the right place, because the slightest little disturbance in...
But if you wait until the sea gate is in place, our canals will be closed off for 4 or 5 years.
If it comes to protecting the community and not having to face that kind of damage that we had to those 2 properties, it's not my concern about whether or not it takes a long time to put.
So you just leave the canals closed for 5 years, if that's what it takes to build a sea gate.
If that's what it takes to protect the community, yes, we're in favor of doing that.
Well, I got good news for you. AUG Services is going to step in and do a consulting, a nice study for free, and realize that I can save everybody millions by just taking the sea dam that we have out and then leaving an excavator on the island available. And when a storm comes, we just dump the dirt right back in where it is right now. And instead of paying all this money to put in a newfangled thing that we might not even need. And this is the other case that we keep talking about, is during Harvey, we had a north wind blow through, and we needed that channel open. A sea gate, if we closed it, would have done more damage because it would have held more water in. And having that flow would have been optimal. So the sea gate would kind of be like negated the purpose. And in that case of the storm, I'm not saying that all are the same, but
Well, the thing about a sea gate is that it's a gate. It can go both directions. It can either be open or closed, depending on how you
yeah,
control it. And
yeah.
that's
But
what-
why not just pour more sand back in and block that, and then once
It's a lot cheaper. I'll get.
Yeah.
You have a good point. It's a lot cheaper than what a Seagate would cost. And
Who's going to pay for the Seagate?
Well, we have to look at the possibility of getting some grants. We have to look at all funding sources, including participation among the stakeholders. So, what we're
Participation among the stakeholders. So you're saying you would ask your upstream neighbors for money to help pay for it?
Well, we can ask whether they respond or not. It's another story. But we met last week with GLO, and our effort now is to go out for a study to determine the best location to put the Seagate, and a couple of alternatives.
What are those?
Well, the first location that looks favorable to us is up at the Packery Channel. And
You've got a 150-foot easement down the South Packery Jetty. That's public property. You could put it's under 100-year lease to the city, I believe.
Yeah, right. Well, that's what the GLO told us, is that they were, if necessary, prepared to change the lease with the city to accommodate a reasonable effort.
And anywhere other than that's going to be on private property.
Yeah, well, we'll jump off that bridge when we get there. But the thing is, I just listened to you guys talk about being prepared for hurricane season. We can't really have it both ways. We're either going to be prepared and what it takes to do that, or we're not. So what we find out is when there's a hurricane that pops up in short notice, you can't always get that equipment in place to pour in sand and to block access
we've
ways.
got an island full of sand, and it's
Yeah.
one excavator,
yeah.
Yeah.
and
One long
boom,
reach
boom,
to do
boom, and we can run
Why didn't we do it during Alberto?
That would
We
be a
didn't- we didn't
question.
real-
Yeah, well,
Why didn't we do
I'll
it
tell you
for-
why. We didn't realize that could happen with just water movement. And really a
Correct.
small
Well, we
canal. If
also-
you look at the drainage of that area, it's not draining the whole area. It's kind of one corner there.
Well, we also have Encantada blocked, and Commodore's wasn't cut yet. We have one point of entrance and exit, and that was through the Don Pat.
Well,
under
that
the
was
Don Pat.
one of the questions that I had for Rick this week. The opening of the canals and the removal of the dam in Lake Padre, is it connected to the opening of the canal at Commodore's Bridge, the new Commodore's Bridge?
Well, our thought originally was if we could achieve the flow rates that were determined to be real with opening of those, there was an element there that said once we get this section of the bulkhead repaired, we would be okay with whatever happens after that. We were just trying to buy some time.
And how many studies were done as far as the water flow? I know I could think two, even three. I think three. Another one was done because a friend from an engineering company told me that they had the other engineering company that was hired reach out for some numbers from them because their modeling was incomplete.
that
because
was
they were
the
looking at
peer
the
review.
Encantada thing.
That was
Yeah.
the peer review
Yeah.
that you guys asked for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and about Encantada, have we reached some kind of concept or idea as to putting in the like the big box culverts? I know we can't do a bridge because of the property that's right there, right? And then the whole line of sight thing plays into it. But we have two options, right? I think that's what you put in the in the paper.
They presented three. When I say three options were presented at. I think it was the TERS meeting. One was to essentially do nothing, just clear out what was there. Another one was box culverts at grade, and another one was raise it up some so you had some clearance. And I think that you had about a 3-foot rise over it was low enough you could see over it, so you didn't have to have turn lanes. And they picked, I believe, the second one. It was the one.
The 9-foot box culverts. And we're going to have that at ISAC on the agenda in about 10 days, and we'll weigh in on it, our opinion on it. But I think everyone I've talked to is leaning towards the box culverts. It'd give you a whole lot more flow through there.
Yeah, well, and the ability
the issue is this: you can't even do it until the sand on either side is dredged down to where at least to the bottom of the box culverts. If not, it's just going to fill that area in.
And what needs to happen
Problem
with
right
that
now.
What needs to happen with that sand? Do you have to remove that sand So it's got to be pulled out, put on a barge or truck, and what? Maybe take it in front of the seawall and drop it off there. I think that-
And correct me if I'm wrong, but that's the dredging's a responsibility of the HOA, of the
We
POA.
will dredge to the original specifications of the
Right.
canal. If the city wants to put in box culverts, we'll dredge to the specification of the canal when that's done.
And some of those will be up, actually high enough that if you lean over a little bit, you can probably take
it's a kayak, or yeah,
through
looking
it.
at the
That was
thing.
one of the
so
options.
so that won't be used most of the time, but in the event of a storm where you elevate it,
Yeah.
you'll get the full use of that 9-foot culvert. It won't be
Yeah,
there won't
yeah.
be kayakers there. There'll be
yeah.
high-rise water.
But when the water's moving, as the canals are designed to do.
Back to the Commodore's Bridge.
Yeah.
That's so ugly, such ugly water.
It is.
Needs to be circulated. It just hurts me to look at.
Yeah.
On the front page of the Island Moon, I took a drone shot yesterday, and you could see the water in Lake Padre. I almost called it Lake Padre. Lake Padre, or Padre Sound, as it is technically. It's not a lake.
Yeah.
Versus the water that's in the canal systems is completely different.
And
It looks so brackish and contaminated.
And if we can open that up and get it sooner, we can open that up and circulate
Yeah,
it. Those people in those canals are going to thank us because it's nasty, nasty.
But if we
water.
wait for a Seagate, we're looking at 4 or 5
yeah,
years.
we're not. That's not going to work.
Well, and whether we're ready for a hurricane or not, I don't think a Seagate's going to be the thing that stops it.
Well, won't having water going under the Commodore's Bridge take some of the water pressure, the flow rates down in the bulkheads down south? You're splitting the water flow. Isn't that going to lessen the water, the flow rates?
If you believe the studies that have been done to this point, that should happen.
Yeah. So I mean, and the best thing to do would say, okay, cut Commodores, cut the Don Pat by the Lake Padre Bridge, and then open Encantada, and all of a sudden that water flow that you've divided by 3. In essence, I'm no mathematician,
Yeah.
but you've already divided that by 3. You would think that, okay, I get it. Sometimes we're going to have fast water flow. One of the things that people didn't realize that we were running into when it was open before Alberto was when water would really move. We'd have heavy tides running in or out because of the way that channel was running. People would have to have their boat in idle to, in gear to keep steering. But the water, if they're going with the current, was moving so fast, people were yelling off of their docks, hey, no wake. And the guy's like, I have to steer, man. It's like a 3.5 knot current. Like, sorry.
Yeah. Well, I think that when one of the things that we learned, and you alluded to this, Rick, is when we had the water flowing through there, it took the sand off the bottom south of the Whitecap Bridge. It went down to the hard pan clay. Mm-hmm. It took the bottom out, but when it reached a certain level, it stopped.
It gets to the clay, it'll stop.
And you're saying that was at the bottom of the bulkhead, so you're in the process of sinking deeper pilings there, right?
The other thing that'll correct it, and we have to do this at Port Aransas and different places I've built docks, is if you've got an area that scours like that, you've got to put some bull rock or something in there. And
That's what they did at the bridges.
That will protect it. It doesn't have to be a $high expensive deal. It can be the leftover bull rock that Wrights has or I have.
It's kind of what we saw with the bridges when the city came in about a year ago and did that work.
Yeah,
That's
they
what
did. They had to.
and it's worked.
And the edge on the bridges is city property, right?
Correct.
And then the base of the canal would be POA.
The bottom is the POA, and the bulkheads are the POA. And then as you come, the dividing line for the Whitecap property is further north, and then they own theirs.
Yeah.
And then you go right on through the Don Patricio, and then when you cross to the Lake Padre side, that's private. That's the developer over there. where the dam currently is. He had damage as well from Alberto, but he got his fixed fairly quickly.
I have a question for you, Rick. You're talking about, hey, if you want to get prepared for hurricane season, you have to prepare everything. My question is, and Doc Gully would know this, when we had Alberto, I've been here 30-some years. You've been here a lot longer than that. Have you ever seen one? I've never seen a tropical storm stay that long with that much water in one spot.
Allison did it in Houston.
But I'm talking about here. I mean,
here it's.
Have you seen that? I mean, and even
It was a long duration storm.
If you had a Seagate, I mean, it's only going to block where you have the Seagate. It'll come around.
In some cases, it can make it worse if you don't open it.
Right.
Someone's got to make that decision. And I can remember a few years ago talking to the city at the TERS about how we could save them some money by doing this and this and this. And they turned to Margie Rose, who was the city manager at the time, and they said, is there anybody at the city level that can determine when it's time to dredge the canal, even though the information is given by Naismith Marine, compiles that information and say it's time to dredge and this is how much you can take out and this is what you can do.
Right.
And she turned around and looked back at the TERS and says, no, we don't think anybody can make that call. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, we can, Naismith Marine makes that call. So
that's and then it's going to be a question of whose ox gets gored, because if you open it, it's going to flood over here. If you close it, it's going to flood over there.
Right.
If you go back and look at Hurricane Allen, the Seagate that we had that was taken out, that was never closed, it was designed and built when there was no water going under SPID. It was just there for the Lake Padre side. Hurricane Allen came through in 1980. There was no water. There was no place for the water to come across. It came right through here by where we're sitting, and it tried to get back to the Gulf and took out 1,100 feet of bulkheads along the Cruiser Canal, right where we had the trouble this time.
Right.
But it was just like having a closed Seagate. The water got behind the island, and when it wanted to go out, that's where it wanted to go, and it ended up going over South Padre Island Drive, right by where May's Restaurant is right now. It went over the road right there. With enough force, it took out the Whitecap Bridge and the Gypsy Bridge. So if you'd have had a closed Seagate that day, wouldn't have made a bit of difference. The water was on its way out in a hurry.
And you know, the interesting thing is all that vinyl canal along Packer Channel where the houses are.
Yeah.
I built most all of that myself.
Yeah.
And I put 13-foot pilings, which means there may
Yeah.
only be 8 feet down in the mud. Okay. In all these storms, we've never had a dollar's worth of damage to any of that. And the thing about Packer Channel is it's like storm currents every day, 4 times a day.
Yeah. What's the average kind of, when we'll say we've got a good current running out, what speed is that moving in front of your house there? How many knots?
4
would
feet
you
a
say?
second.
It's not 4 knots. I mean, I think 2.5 knots, 2.8. I think is about as high as it gets.
Okay, on just
I
normal
wish
kind of
Jay
moving in and out.
Jay would probably know that exactly.
But if you look at
it's
out,
fast though. I tell you what, it's fast.
Yeah. You're swimming up.
You can use it as
yeah.
a lazy river and jump and go all the way out to the Gulf.
Yeah.
Some days.
Well, and
Well,
that's part of what we were doing. Back in the day, Greg Smith and I had a business plan of, you go out on the canals in Venice and on the gondolas and stuff. But down here, we'll give you some old Milwaukee's Beast and sing you Willie
you in
Nelson
at Lake
songs on a
Padre.
John boat and
we'll
give
pick you
people
up
tours.
at the Gypsy boat ramp.
Yeah, exactly.
2 minutes.
So
I-
Rick, I would like to invite you to come and maybe give a presentation, answer questions at the ISAC meeting, which is coming up. I think the second is first Tuesday, and we're going to meet at the Wyndham. We're back on the island.
Yay!
Yeah, we've gotten that. Got
No
that
more
straightened out.
downtown.
No more downtown. That was making it hard to get a quorum, and it
Yeah.
also was making it hard on island people to come give public comment.
Yeah.
Or sit. A lot of people like to sit through the meetings.
Right.
And so we got that fixed, and they were kind enough at the Wyndham to do it. Now I've already talked to the county and remind them that we're going to bill for them over at the county. We're
Right.
going to be using that to have our meetings.
Sure. Yeah,
since
there
we
were-
help
that's
pay for
coming
with the
along.
TERS. But I would like to invite you to give a presentation on the Encantada Bridge and even talk about the Seagate. Although we've already voted on that, and our vote was we're not against that $250,000 study, but we don't think TERS should pay for it.
And now that
Is
now
our-
you
is our
guys
issue.
are
But
taking that.
Now this Encantada Bridge is a completely different thing, and I want to have it on the agenda, and we'll probably take action in recommending what we think, and I feel like it'll probably be the number 2, which will be the big box culverts. But
Well,
I want you guys to be there because you're involved in this, getting the sand out.
I'll be happy to be there. I'll have to check my schedule, but we don't consider the Encantada solution a POA initiative. So what we are willing to talk about is what our plan is on the Seagate floodgate study, because we realized it didn't get funded, and that left it, in our view, just dead in the water. So I championed an initiative to take on the task of finding the best place to put a Seagate. I don't care what the politics are. All I want to know is if you've got a Seagate that can be dynamically controlled if necessary, what's the best place to put it? Because we know it's not at the Don Pat Bridge. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's off the table.
And
So-
they've cut the. How wide was that opening on the Seagate originally?
Well, I
that
think
probably was
50
like 50.
50
It wasn't.
feet.
It was pretty. It was pretty slim.
It was only 50 feet wide, and that thing literally dissolved over the years until it
Yeah.
wasn't any more scrapping.
Well, there was Paul Snyder was involved in that for years, and when according to him, the Corps came in and wanted them to widen that because they said that the best thing to do for the bulkheads was to get them submerged as quickly as possible with as water moving as slowly as you could. So the way to accomplish that was to widen that and let the water come in rather than pick up speed. So they took the Seagate out and they widened it to about 100 feet. I don't remember. I'd have to go down there and
How,
look.
do you
but
know, Rick?
they widened it quite a bit.
How
from
wide
50
that
feet.
is now?
I think it's about 150
Right,
feet,
something
something
like
like
Maybe
that.
150 feet, all of which makes it more and more expensive.
So the
Yeah.
purview of the POA is to protect the bulkheads. No one wants the residents' backyards falling into the canals.
Yeah,
You know,
that's kind of where we are.
Yeah, and the whole goal is, okay, if we open all this up, the purpose is not having people's stuff fall down. How far would $250,000 go for reinforcing bulkheads existing and opening everything up versus studying a Seagate?
$250,000. Since last year, since Alberto, I'm pushing over $2 million in doing what we've done today.
Yeah.
So it doesn't take many more hundreds of feet of bulkhead to where a Seagate, if it works the way we would like it to work, to start making sense.
Well, all the canals were cut with the intention of, or built with the intention of having water flow.
They were,
I
but
don't
they
think
were
so.
right? Have they
I
just
don't
not-
believe, I don't believe that's true. I don't believe our canal system was designed for a flow. Just like the
Go
city,
back,
the
go back
city
and read the
said,
permits.
well, that's
That's what they say.
right.
So,
Not
how,
to
how long are those?
1983.
How long are those concrete panels?
8 feet. I think they're 8 feet, right?
The legacy ones?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's 8 to 10 feet.
So if you got 4 feet out of the water, almost 4 feet out of the water, right?
Yeah.
And you got a little bit of water, 2 or 3 feet, that's the problem. You know, I mean, I thought I was putting shallow ones in Packard Channel when I put 13-foot.
We put
channels
it,
in.
when we fixed the bulkheads at Cutlass and over there, we put in 24-foot true line material.
And those are on the sorry, those are on the hard corners that the
Right.
studies
Yeah.
have shown take the most impact.
Sure.
Well,
come on.
Rick,
Right.
what we're really talking about, I think, is protecting the area from the Whitecap Bridge to Encantada, and then from that canal up to the Gypsy Bridge. That's your hot zone, right?
Yes,
that's where
that's our
most
hot
of the
zone.
trouble is,
Right.
and that's where the water speeds up because the canal is narrow.
Right.
And that's where
Right.
there's always been trouble. That's where Allen took out the bulkheads. It's where Alberto took out the bulkheads. So that
Well, we're
area
past
right
the A
there,
storms this year, so
but that area right there, you guys are getting pretty close to fortifying, aren't you?
No, not well. I would say that we have hit the high points right now.
What
But
about the
as
north?
we-
What
as-
about the north side of the narrow channel between the Cruiser Canal and the Gypsy Bridge? I hear that there's some problems with the bulkheads. You fixed the south side. I hear there's some problems on the north side as well.
Yeah, there's problems all the way up to the Gypsy Bridge. I mean, the problem that we have is, we get slowed down because first off, we've got people that've got decks and docks in the way,
Right.
boat lifts in the way, and my heart goes out to those people because if we need to fix a bulkhead, it is, just ask the families that were involved in
Yeah.
Alberto damage. I mean, they're financially that was a huge burden on them, and we did everything we could.
well, and there were
So-
parts of the house that were pretty much
Yeah.
inhabitable because it was undercut so badly. You didn't want to sit there and have part of your house or your foundation all
corner,
messed
right.
up.
Pools,
so
you
only
name
knew
it.
someone who could help with foundation or bulkhead repair.
Yeah.
Yes, speaking of that, this is the unofficial Complete Foundation Repairs Citizens Reaction Line. Stan Bryant, he sent a picture of a Seagate at Pelican Cove. Now, it's a different situation. It's in Aransas Pass. It's at the end of 361. There's held up against Harvey. And that might be an option that you're talking about in that narrow spot where you have all the action that happens. This is pretty simple looking. I'll pass it
Yeah,
on
I've got those photographs. In fact, we've tried to have a dialogue set with those folks because that was actually put in during Harvey, and they were funded as a result of a FEMA emergency remediation grant.
I was just there yesterday.
Yeah.
I should have gone and checked it out.
Could you put a gate at the Gypsy Bridge and stop water from going in and out of that narrow channel?
The problem is we would wind up putting in multiple floodgates. I think. That's why we want to do the optimum location study. I don't care about any of the stuff that's been done in the past. What I care about right now is if a floodgate is the answer, where should it go? And it's not a license to open it up. We're not going to replicate a $250,000 study. We're just going to do the floodgate issue.
But it can.
Okay, so Rick, if you have a floodgate there at Packard Channel, then and the right hurricane comes where it piles up in there and then it runs off and sucks the tide back down, it's all going to be running out through there again anyway from everything that's in the neighborhoods. And everything that's in Lake Padre is going to dump back out, running back out to get away, as the tide goes down.
The whole concept of the floodgate, in my mind, is to take inputs from all the sensors that we have, to have an automated control system that says, should I be open, should I be closed? And it should do it with enough notice to where we can tell any boaters that are out there that, yay, verily, if you want to come back through that path, you need to do it within this amount
So
of time.
who's going to make reference back what I said about the TERS meeting that the cities couldn't make those calls? Who's going to make that call?
Ted.
His bridge.
Well, let me say it this way.
Is it POA or is it?
If it got to a point where, and I can't say this strongly enough, if the choice to us was to invest $5.5 million to protect our community, or to just throw the dice and let's see what happens, I would say, if based on our repair history, financial history so far on bulkheads, I would say that might be a good investment on our part.
What do you think
Right.
a floodgate will cost? Have any
Well,
idea?
the first estimate I got was $5.5 million, and it was not adequate for what we think our needs are. And of course, it's the initial investment of the floodgate is only a portion of it, right? Because
Yeah.
those things have got to be
You got to
sustained.
hire somebody to sit there with their finger on the button.
No. It's going to be an automated control system,
Ah.
and we'll take inputs from National Weather Service or Hurricane Service. We'll
But
figure.
it just doesn't seem realistic to say we're going to leave the canals closed for 4 or 5 years until
No,
we get a
that
floodgate. I just don't
that-
see that
that
happening.
won't work.
That just helps us get funding sources lined up. If we had to go it alone, well, I mean, that's a whole other story. But make no
What you-
mistake, we believe a floodgate is necessary, and it needs to be able to open and close on command.
You do it. Seems like you could do that with bonds. If there's not going to be money in the TERS anytime soon for at least 5 years, but you could do bonds, I would think, right?
The thing is, we are beyond the point of talking about this. We need to do.
We need a funding source.
We need to take the next
You need a
step.
funding source, or you're
That's-
just talking.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
and right now you don't have one.
Well, that's not totally true. I mean, if there was sufficient justification, the POA could go much farther than it's going. But, I can't commit the POA to that kind of money. But I certainly can say that from the people we've got on the Canal Committee and the attention that we're getting with people that are sympathetic to our cause, you can open it up if you want. But if there's any damage, it won't be an easy sell because we will have done our homework. Because we should have done this a long time ago.
That's correct.
We should have done the dynamic flow studies when this whole project was being considered, but you didn't do that.
Well,
The bond-
there were a lot of studies done, though. I know, hearing from
Yeah.
Deidre and different things, that they had done that. Now, whether they were adequate or not, obviously they didn't predict.
Well,
what
they
happened.
added the canal system to the fund. They funded research in the canal system when Packard was open as part of that, and Dieter did that work. They added the main canal, but that stopped sometime 5 or 6 years ago. But if you go back, 2004 were the bonds to turn the culverts into a bridge. So we've known since 2004 this water was coming.
Well, we're going to take a quick promotional break and get right back at it. It's 8:32. We've got Rick McGinley, Hilda Perez Garcia joining us. We've got Dale Rankin, Ted's running around, Sed Mendel running around somewhere, Dr. Brian Gully, and Tyler Thorson. My name is Jacob Boggs. You're listening to KUKA Driscoll, Texas, 105.9 and 103.3. Also on Retro Tejano, 104.1. Let's hear a word from some friends, and we will be right back. Yeah, well,
Dating myself.
earlier I did play the Cross Canadians version of Stranglehold,
Yeah,
which is
I heard that.
It's fun to get up and run into in the
I thought
morning.
that's not Ted Nugent. But
Yeah, I still a curveball in there.
the boys from Edmond.
Exactly. Excellent. Well, it's Island Moon Thursday here on Larry Elizondo's Power Hour on KUKA Driscoll 105.9 and 103.3, and on Retro Tejano 104.1. We've got special guest Rick McGinley, Tyler Thorson, Hilda Perez Garcia, Dale Rankin, Dr. Brian Gully, and my name is Jacob Boggs. Just because there's so much news to get to, we got to come at you with 6 or 7 people every week. We're also on YouTube. Just go to Island Moon Live, and you can watch this or watch the recording from earlier if you're not able to listen to this live. So thank you again to Doc's Seafood and Steaks. It's a
Yay.
gorgeous morning.
Serving Gulf shrimp.
Yeah.
Genuine.
Yes, one of the what out of 44, I think only 16 places were found to actually be serving Gulf shrimp. Ate here with my family for my wife's birthday yesterday night, or no, 2 days ago, and I got the fried flounder, and it's awesome. If you haven't had the fried flounder here, it's outstanding, and a great sunset and a nice little breeze. Actually, pretty comfortable.
Can't ask for better
And,
weather. This is Chamber of Commerce weather today.
Yeah, we got oddly enough a west wind and predicting some storms potentially later on this afternoon.
We
more
had a
so
mini
around the
hurricane a
coast.
couple of days ago.
Man, it came through.
So-
How much rain did we get? Did you hear?
It wasn't much rain, but it just all of a sudden it started raining against my windows, and the building kind of shook. There was
Yeah.
a little mini storm, and then it went on through.
I was coming home from 77 just this side of Kingsville, and that wind, that 50 something mile an hour wind hit, and I thought it was crazy rain or something, but it was the dust off those fields.
Yeah.
And it blacked out everything till I couldn't see 10 feet in front of me, and I just kind of pulled off the side of the road, off into the grass, and just stopped.
That's
In
why
a
everybody
few
moved to
minutes, it went away.
California, Brian.
Man, that's like the 50s in Oklahoma or the 30s in Oklahoma.
I've done that on the way back. 77 had a group from New Zealand in one of those thunderstorms that it's so rained so hard I couldn't see, and they're like, "My God, what is this?" So I pulled over right over around Kingsville.
Mm-hmm.
It gets hammered there. So we're watching that storm coming through. It's like, oh my God, here it comes, here we come. Hang on to your butts, It's like,
Yeah.
oh. And then it's like it backed up, and they're like, "Oh, there's Tyler's house. Let's go this way. He needs water." And
Yeah.
it like just petered out. But they had the strongest winds in the bluff where it didn't rain. They knocked over the tower over there at the Mud Bridge, 58 miles an
They
hour.
shut it
My
down for a
cyber
little
truck,
while.
that cyber truck goes by vision, right? It's got all these cameras, and it shut it down. It was driving itself, and all of a sudden, all these alarms.
It's yours.
I don't know where we are.
Throws his hands up and screams.
Man, I was in Austin over the weekend, and there's Waymos everywhere. It's driverless cars. It's kind of creepy. Well,
is.
before we let you go, Rick,
Okay.
I just want to hit a couple of high points. So we don't know from the POA side when the dam is going to come out. You're saying when the Seagate is done. Realistically, we don't know.
That's correct. We don't know. When we put that in, it was to help repair bulkheads, and the property owner needed to do the same thing. Okay, so we agreed and did a memorandum of
Right.
understanding. The end point of that was more driven by, are you coming under any pressure to take it down? Can we keep it open until December? Then it went to, can we keep it open until the end of hurricane season?
And that seems like a common
That's-
sense answer.
And the thing is, I could sit here and say what our glorious plan is,
Yeah.
but I can't stop that from happening.
If
via
it
normal.
if let's say that it opens at the same time that the water is flowing under the Commodore's Bridge, and whatever happens within Cantata, which seems to be stuck with dredging, but let's say that those get done and the dam comes out later this year, can you still work on the bulkheads? Where does that leave you?
Well, I think if we achieve the flow rates that all the analysis up to this point has indicated, then yeah, we can
Sure.
still work on the bulkheads. So
The-
the thing is, all the studies that I've seen, they're within a few tenths of a dB of one another, right?
Yeah.
They're not that much different.
Right.
So I think I've been an advocate for having real-time instrumentation so that you could keep that model primed and run it whenever you want.
Right.
So if you can predict what the flow rate is coming into the Packery Channel, and you can predict what it's going to be downrange on a regular basis, then you should be able to say, hey,
Well, when you open it, you just
Yeah.
measure it. You don't need a study.
Well,
You just
don't
need a gauge.
I don't need a study to figure out what it's going to be. What I
Yeah.
need to do is have a study to say, if I'm going to put in a floodgate, it needs
Yeah.
to go at this location. Because my belief is that if I'm standing there in front of a committee that's going to say whether or not we qualify for an emergency reconstruction grant,
Yeah.
I want to be able to show to them that I've done my homework.
Yeah.
Because I know that it's got to go at that location, and here's why. But I run the risk, right? And the risk is that we need an independent study, which is kind of deja vu in a way, because back in 2018 or so, 2017,
Right.
the board was pressured to do an independent, hydrographic study, flow study, if you will, to figure out what the impact would be on the canals of introducing a flow rate. And we sort of skipped over that. And I can't go back there again.
Right, but realistically, for the people that are listening, want to know when the water is going to be going through the canals, we're saying probably sometime around the end of hurricane season, which is the end of November, and according to a bet among friends, sometime around the 15th, or no, Thanksgiving, I believe.
Yes. Yeah.
So sometime around Thanksgiving is a pretty good estimation of when we're going to see, assuming that the Commodore's Canal gets
Well, and there's also another assumption, too, and that is that you can move out on that without having your permit approved. If the Corps of Engineering doesn't approve your permit, can you take it? Can you open it up anyways? I
Oh,
don't
you're
know.
talking about Commodores?
Yeah.
I don't know the answer to that.
I think so, because as I've heard, that sand that's put in that barrier
Yeah.
is there on a maintenance permit.
You're talking about the one on Lake
on
Padre.
the bridge. Yeah, Lake
Yeah.
Padre. And therefore, it's pretty much up to the landowner.
But
to
you're
where-
talking
you
about
guys-
What
Commodores.
I'm talking about is the cut over at Commodore.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which would, because if you just opened up that sand dam right now without opening the other
That
two
could cause
outlets,
you a problem.
that would cause us a problem for sure.
I don't
And-
think there's that much flow coming down Commodores. I get it from Alberto coming in through Lake Padre on that side, but coming just from Commodores down behind CVS, I don't think there's that much.
I think you're
flow.
talking about the other way, relieving pressure down where the damage was with an incoming flow.
right.
They're working on those bulkheads there at Commodores. They're going to have those things done before long. They're going to be ready to go. I don't know where the permitting stands.
Yeah.
But if you open that up and Commodores, Encantada, then I don't see you're going to have a lot of pressure to take that dam out at Lake Padre.
Encantada's going to take a while.
Yeah.
How long do you think?
Yeah, it's stuck with dredging, isn't it?
First of all, they're going to have dredge first. There's no reason doing it if you haven't dredged.
And that's on the POA.
So
I
that's on the
think.
POA, right, Rick?
Well, if you're going to put in the box culverts, our logic is put in the box culverts, and then if we have to do any additional dredging in the canal, we'll do it then.
So we
Well,
got to
if-
catch
but-
22.
But no, yeah, but if right now
Yeah.
there's sand in the culverts,
Yeah.
the little culverts, 36-inch culverts, I believe, and if you have sand that's up higher than there, and you dig it down there, and you put that box culvert 2 or 3 feet below the sand level, it's gonna fill in those holes gravity-wise with the movement of the water.
what you're
And
saying
so
is-
you've messed up the whole point.
It's a question of whether you dredge first or you,
need
put the culverts
I
in.
think
That's
you need.
what we're
I think
hearing.
you need to dredge first.
Yeah.
Maybe
Well,
that's something that could come up at the ISAC meeting.
Yeah, and we're not going to tell the engineers how to do it, but just listen to the engineers talk. They all say the dredge has got to be done first. Everyone I've heard talk.
So
It's going to be how fast can the POA get that sand down to the level it's supposed to be, and then how fast can the city rip that whole thing out and put those culverts in. There's
Well,
100 foot of culverts.
I think if the dependency was we have an approved program, we have the funding, we're going to put those in, they're just waiting on me to get the sand out of the way, that can happen pretty fast.
Okay, good.
But
That's
I-
what I
yeah.
like hearing.
Seems
I'm
like
not-
that should be
the
in
reason I
place.
can't do that right now is because I don't have that warm fuzzy that's actually going to happen, and that those little pipes in there fill in so fast,
Right.
and they fill in with trash from the street in some cases,
Right.
and the city went out to inspect it. They pulled the manhole covers off, and guess what they found? It was filled with trash from the street.
Well, it's
So
filled
they-
with sand from the divers that go down there. We know what's
Yeah,
down
so
there.
Yeah, they
But the
filled
city
up.
council this week approved a project to run a sidewalk right over the top of that. They're going to put a sidewalk in from Gypsy all the way over to SPID. They're going right over the top of that Encantada.
We don't want to build it until we.
Well, that's what we're going to
Yeah.
do.
No,
You know
don't-
that's what we're going to do.
No.
We're going to build it and tear it out and put it back.
Well, it's just like putting the potholes back in.
You know
after
that's
you've
what's
paved,
coming.
right?
Yeah.
Well,
Got
thank
one thing to cloud up things more. You're talking about the funding and like if we have to, the POA we'll come up with some funds, and I know you're saying this is to get people off the schneid to say like, hey, well, it might be 5 years. Well, this is so. How much? This is coming in from the Tyler's listeners reaction line. How much money would be raised by removing grandfathered lower HOA fees? You know, the ones charged on older properties. Cough, cough. Because a lot of folks, that are like, "Hey, why, how come he's got? Oh, he's only paying $750."
It's almost like I paid somebody to raise that question. Collecting fees. I tell everybody, you've just been given this promotion, and it's 2007, and you got to love your salary because you're not going to get another raise, and it's now 2025.
Right.
Okay, so we're living on the same budget we had in 2007, and if everybody paid their CAM fees as scheduled, we'd be in much better shape.
Well, we had a little bit
yeah.
of an increase in, 2010 or 11, wasn't it, when they went door to door? Something like that?
Something like that.
And that's how we got the two-tier system and all of that.
yeah,
Because, it's not easy to change the rate structure because you got to go neighborhood to neighborhood.
yeah, exactly, and you got to kiss a lot of rings to make that happen.
But you could probably do it through the new computer system, right?
Yeah,
You can
yeah,
talk to
actually
each
I
neighborhood.
can, yeah. So there's a lot we can do with that now.
Yeah. Manage CASA. You want to encourage people to use that.
Yes, right. The thing is, going back to I don't want to take too tough a stance on this Encantada thing. If we've got a funded program where the city's going to put in the box culverts, we will do whatever is necessary to
Okay.
make that happen. I'm just not going to move out in faith and do it ahead of time
Yeah.
because it fills in so quickly. It'd be a waste of
doing
money.
it now, we just have to redo it.
Right,
But
and that's why-
getting all that kind of planned and set up together. I think that's it. The overarching theme for today's show was "Let my water flow, man."
Well, thank you for being here, Rick.
Okay.
We just got word a second
break-
ago that
Breaking news.
Drew
Yes.
Molly, the city's water has resigned.
Really.
Yeah.
I think he's had enough.
Or maybe he's
That
probably
might be
going to
the
go
signal.
form a desal company
Yeah,
and
exactly.
switch sides or something, right? But thank you for being here, Rick.
Yes, thank you,
we'll,
Rick.
we'll have you come back on as things move along,
Yeah, it's okay. I'll be happy to do it.
and hopefully we'll see you at the ISAC meeting back on the island.
Right, we're back
Yes.
on the island.
Excellent.
I'll
Well,
put it on the agenda that you have a presentation, and we're going to talk about the Encantada. It's going to be on the agenda.
Yeah.
That should
That'd
get
make
done.
sense.
That's low hanging fruit.
Okay, excellent. Hilda, we are glad you're joining us. How's
We're going to
everything in
switch
your
gears
world?
and start talking
Well,
about
no,
Christmas.
let's segue into the canals with the light of boat parade.
There you go.
Speaking of canaling, so yeah, I'm here to talk about La Posada. It's right around the corner again. We're going to have our kickoff party on the 4th,
Okay.
which is on a Thursday. It's
The
gonna be
4th of December.
The 4th of December, right. We're going to have our Marines there. We're going to have our auction
Where is it?
at Hard Knocks.
Ah.
Doors open at 6:30. So we're on the calendar at
That'll
Hard
be a
Knocks.
full house.
Oh, it'll be a full house again. Everybody comes out. It's awesome. We'll have like I said, our Marines there, our toy boxes. It'll be a big drop-off point. We're going to drop off boxes there November 1st because Rod does collect a lot of toys.
Yeah.
So he wants to start November 1st. So you'll see the toy boxes there. And the
and
Christmas tree will
where
be up.
all do you place the boxes? I know there's one at Ace Hardware, right?
We always place one at
Where-
Ace. Ace always has a box
Yes.
there,
Yeah.
and they do
It's
some
the
kind of a
place.
competition, every year.
Have a
that-
tree or whatever,
they
some
have a
kind of
tree
raffle.
and a
And the
raffle
toys,
for us,
the
yeah.
toys go out through the Marines, but some stay locally through the CASA program or the police program that does that, right?
So yeah, we do definitely our number one program is Toys for Tots, but we do also donate toys to CASA, the Boys and Girls Club, and to the police officers, Christmas Angels, because the police officers are the ones that know when they're on their routes who is not going to receive any toys,
Yeah.
and then they do something with HEB. HEB donates quite a bit. So Christmas morning And if anybody wants to help, it's it's easy to get a hold of the police department and tell them you want to participate in their POCA, the Police Officers Christmas Angels
Right.
program, and you can help that morning and deliver toys.
I've been getting in touch with
food.
the police department, but not by choice. I keep getting pulled over for giving me speeding tickets. I don't know what the heck's going on.
Oh man! So
I think
anyway,
their guns are off.
our lighted boat parades are going to be on the 12th and the 13th. We're back to doing it how we've always done it. It's traditionally we've always done it the second weekend in December.
Yeah.
Last year the Marines had us do all of it the first week, and that was so hard.
So that's going to we're going back to
we're
2
going
weeks.
back to the second week of December. So
doing I know you did the Friday one is on the north end canals, and then
Correct.
Saturday is the south end canals, the longer parade. But
Right.
we had channel 6 was out?
we're going to have Channel 6, and we're going to broadcast here this
Okay.
year.
Nice.
At Docks?
At Docks.
This
at
is
the
a great spot.
At the water line. So we had Chris Six come out the other day. They've always really wanted it here.
Yeah.
So
It's a better vantage.
The view's amazing. You
We've
can
been
see it.
over at the dock down the way here, and the
Yeah.
water is too shallow.
It's
Those big
shallow.
boats, the big boats are way out there from the judges. Only the little mosquito fleet can come
And they
in.
have to zoom in, you
Yeah.
know, so to try, because sometimes,
And that's
they're-
hard to do.
And if it's
hard 'cause
windy,
they're-
it's shaky.
It's
Yeah.
windy, shaky, and they're staging up, and we use our
Yeah.
walkie-talkies. We try to tell boat number 1, hurry up, or boat number 3.
Yeah.
And it's so complicated.
And I think they had a cam at somebody's party, like a camera.
Yeah, they
Oh,
have
yeah,
a-
we do that every year.
they
We're
always
still
have
gonna
a
do
wild
that.
camera somewhere.
Oh, we're still going to do that on Jackfish.
Hey, I've got
Yeah.
to tell you this to get everybody excited in kids' terms. There's 114 sleeps until La Posada, 126
Oh, yeah.
sleeps until Christmas. Okay, now
you go.
now you understand.
So don't start looking for Santa Claus on the radar.
and you better start getting it. They'll put the elf on the shelf early.
Hey, well, we
Yes.
have we have a cold front that's coming down. I get cold front is in quotation marks.
Cooler front.
According to yes, so the pattern is starting,
Oh boy,
which is interesting.
Yeah,
That's
it's
We'll
a-
get
yeah.
NORAD here report.
You can feel that. It's usually in October though when you feel that first day when it's not summer anymore.
yeah, but you can feel fall already. You can feel it. You can feel it in the air right now.
You can see it in the
Yes.
in the
Yeah.
light
Yeah.
in the evening.
So we're excited about that. We're excited about being here at Docks, at the water lines. Like I said, they're
That's
gonna be
a
right
great
at the
spot.
corner. It's a great spot. We're going to have the media here. I think we're going to probably have still the same talent we had last year. The main characters over at Chris Six. We'll have Stephanie.
Channel 6 goes all in on that.
They do.
They bring
They
out
do.
a full production crew. I've been impressed with how they do things.
Probably have you as a judge again.
I try not to be judgmental, but once a year,
You get to be?
Yeah, I like that one. I don't like that one, and it's a lot easier. I've done it many years, and it's a lot easier when you can actually tell which boat you're looking at.
Yeah.
So I heard that the land parade is going to be on Saturday the 6th with the ESD number 2, the Flower Bluff Fire Department.
Oh, Santa
So
on the fire truck.
On a
That's
Saturday,
always fun.
Yes, this time I
okay.
think. So we'll verify that. We've had meetings with them. Of course, it's their parade. You know,
Yeah.
we participate, and we have Marines with us, and we try to collect toys along the
My
route.
phone starts ringing. What's burning? What's on fire? It's just a parade. Don't worry.
You know,
Yeah.
and it'll
And if
be.
and if something catches fire, we're
They're
screwed
there.
because all the fire trucks are
Yeah,
not going to be able
they're
to get
right
out
there.
of the traffic.
You know, and it'll be interesting once we do open the bridge on Commodore if we'll change the route.
Yeah, I was thinking about. Well,
We
you got,
might do
but
that.
you've only got 14 feet of clearance there.
Yeah, so
And
might
but
be-
you've also got 14 feet. I was going to bring that up. You've also got 14 feet at the Don Patricio.
Yeah.
So you could do something.
Yeah,
if you can
there's
boats that can get under 14 feet, which is a
Possibility
lot.
that we might be able to do that. 'cause-
Especially if the wind's going to be an issue, you can stay a little more protected
You
back
could
in those other
Right.
canals.
You could stage in.
yeah.
You could stage in the
Probably
lake,
able to stage
Lake
there
Padre
instead
side.
of Caravel. Now I know that we do go down. We go down Jackfish all the way as far as we can over there, close to where
Right.
Farrah's was, and then we turn back around.
Right, you
Yeah,
turn
that's on
around where the
Friday.
Commodore's Bridge is going to be.
Right, right.
Excellent.
So we'll see. We'll see what'll happen.
Lots of fun. We'll keep you on and keep so you can keep us updated and stay tuned with
Absolutely.
everything. And if there's any other updates, you can find out
our
on
website.
islandmoon.com.
We're set up for boats to register already.
Okay,
so
awesome.
we've got people registering their boats already at www.laposadafoundation, all one word, .org.
Excellent.
So it's
We got to hit Gully up to get his
laposadafoundation.org.
boat in this year.
Oh yeah,
we're,
absolutely.
We're going to take one more bonus promotional moment, and then we'll be back. And Eric Von Wade is going to continue to begin his show. So we're just going to continue kind of rocking on right here. You're more than welcome to hang out. And we will be right back on KUKA Driscoll, Texas, 105.9 and 103.3, and Retro Tejano 104.1. That's right. It is Island Moon Thursdays. Having some good time playing a little Reckless Kelly there for you. We are going to slow up and shut down the YouTube feed for this edition of Island Moon Thursdays, but we're going to... All right, we're going to keep going. Eric Von Wade is on his way. We're going to continue the Eric Von Wade show and get some word from the street from the Mushroom Cloud of Truth himself here shortly. So we're going to start a brand new YouTube feed on that. So just refresh that, and we will be joining you shortly. But if you've got us on 105.9, 103.3, or 104.1, you can just rock on with us.